Hey, my name is Alex Hall. I'm a freelance videographer and editor, and in this tutorial, I'm going to show you some of the most useful shortcuts in Premiere Pro, and also how to create your own. Let's go. So one of the first things that we can do within Premiere Pro to work more efficiently is set up our workspaces so that we're focusing on a specific task at one time. Right now, this is the editing workspace, but we can always head up to Window, Workspaces, and we have all of these options to work on different specific tasks, such as assembly, audio, color, and all of these options right here. And once you find a workspace that works really well for you, you can always save that workspace as a new one and come back to it when you want to do a specific task. Now, something else that I find really cool within the program is actually in the project window where we can see all of our footage. And it's simply just changing the view of how we see our footage here into the freeform view. And in this view, this will allow us to organize our footage and create somewhat of a storyboard for our clips. And we can already start putting the clips together really easily and quickly, and we can get a visual representation of what we're going to be working on. And I made this full screen by just double clicking on this panel. And any of these panels can be moved around and maximized at any time. So this is really about making sure that you're comfortable with whatever setup you're working in. So I'm going to head back and reset that to the save layout. And now let's jump into some of the basic tools here that we'd be using on the timeline. Of course, we have all of the shortcuts for the normal tools here. We have A, V, B, C, Y for the slip tool, P for the pen tool, H for the hand tool, and T for the text tool or title tool. If we wanted to zoom in on the timeline, we can just hit plus and minus instead of using this down here. And of course, we can hit left and right on the keyboard there, but we can also press up and down on the arrow keys. If we wanted to make a specific cut on any clip, we can always hit Command K and it'll cut right through that clip if we have it selected. But if we wanted to cut through everything, wherever the playhead is, we can always hit Command K when nothing is selected and it will make a complete cut. But let's say we wanted to cut this clip right here. We could easily do that by just using the razor tool and then deleting that clip right there. That's kind of unnecessary, right? That's an extra step. Over time, that's going to waste quite a bit of time. So something else that we can do is if we place the playhead right here, we can actually do something called a ripple edit forwards. And now if we hit W, I just cut wherever the playhead is moving forward, and I brought the rest of my footage over here backwards. And let's say I wanted to do that on this side as well. I can always hit Q and then it pulls everything in the opposite direction. So that's super helpful. Highly recommend you use that one. Now let's say you wanted to duplicate a clip. Of course you can hit a little copy and paste, but that also takes an extra moment. And sometimes the copy and pasting within Premiere Pro gets a little bit weird with making sure it's on the right track. So something that I'm doing all the time is just holding Option or Alt. And once I'm selecting my clip, I'm still holding Option and I can just make as many duplicates as I want here. So it's very quick. I can also make copies of multiple clips. And now I just have way too many clips there. A very quick way to duplicate your clips. Now, if you ever find yourself doing something over and over within the program, it's always smart to make a shortcut for that. Now, we can always head to the shortcuts area by heading up to the menu, Premiere Pro, and then keyboard shortcuts. Now, this is the interface where you can change your shortcuts, you can update them, you can delete them if you like. And it might look a little bit tricky here, but it's really simple to work with. If we head up here, we have different layout presets for the keyboard shortcuts. Mine is always on custom, yours might be on default. I just leave this as is. And if we head down here to commands, we have all of the different options for the different windows within Premiere Pro. So if you wanted to focus on the effect controls panel, you can just click on there And here would be all of the options that you could work with within the effect controls panel. Now, something that I found myself doing all of the time was increasing and decreasing the volume by just 1 dB or 2 dB. So I created a little shortcut for that. So if I'm listening back to my audio and I hear it's a little bit too loud or too low, I can always just nudge the volume in these very small increments, but they do make a difference. And it's much quicker and easier than doing this by hand. So I have this option here as option V to increase it and option C to decrease it. Now, if I were to just hit option here, we see that those shortcuts are applied right there. And if you ever want to delete the shortcut, you can always click delete right there. And when you want to add a shortcut, let's say I want to add that shortcut right back, I'm just going to hold option and we can simply just drag this shortcut right up to the key that we want. So I'll show you this in action really quick. If we look down here, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Now I'm enlarging this by just holding option and scrolling down. And normally I'd have to do this manually like so, but now I have the option to just do it 1 decibel at a time. So super helpful. Now again, you can create shortcuts for almost any function within the program. So once you find yourself pressing the same exact keys over and over and over, I definitely recommend making a shortcut for those. And those are some of the shortcuts that I want to share with you guys. Hopefully they are helpful and hopefully they get you editing a bit faster within Premiere Pro. If you want to find out a bit more about Adobe Premiere Pro, feel free to check out my online course on Domestika.